Hello, class. My presentation is on the movie The Rite. This movie was released in 2011 and it's directed by Mikael Hofstrom. It was a relative success for a horror slash exorcist genre film. It's based on the nonfiction book The Rite, The Making of a Modern Exorcist. Depending on your position on faith and religion, The Rite is one of those films that have the capacity to be very intriguing or very dry. The protagonist becomes a priest with a doubtful mind and absence of faith. However, a series of events force Michael to continue the priesthood, and the film does a very good job of blurring the lines between faith and science. Priesthood has been becoming less common, so Michael's priest pushes him to be a part of it. In his attempts to leave, Michael is crushed with the idea that the church can turn his scholarship into a student loan and be forced to pay over $100,000 in education. He is encouraged to finish and be a priest and is sent to Rome to become an exorcist since he was a mortician as a child. At Rome, Michael is still doubtful and he is introduced to Father Lucas, which he hopes will allay Michael's spiritual questions. Father Lucas, off the back, invites Michael to witness an attempted exorcism of Rosaria. She's a pregnant 16-year-old girl. The girl's exorcism is a work in progress, however. We learn that exorcisms may take up to months, sometimes years. The key, Lucas says, is getting the demon to say its name, which in turn gives the priest the authority to expel it permanently from the body. However, the demon doesn't cooperate, and Michael grows skeptical. He throws questions at Father Lucas about how someone can know whether a person is truly possessed or mentally ill. Even as Rosaria exhibits supernatural behavior, she seems to know things about Michael she could not possibly have figured out on her own. Despite the evidence that is presented to Michael, he is still skeptical. He thinks that Rosario is mentally ill and that she can speak another language because she has been exposed to pop music in English. But even as Rosario seems to know things about Michael himself, things from his childhood past that can not be explained rationally, he still continues to doubt. In the end of the film, Michael is forced to do an exorcism on Father Lucas, whose soul has been possessed by the same demon that got a hold of Rosario. And here, Michael is forced to believe. This concept of Dharma is very prevalent throughout the film, whether they intended or not. In many instances, Michael is forced to take on this role as a priest, and he is forced to challenge his rational mind to accept the faith of God. And Father Lucas, he did not choose to have Michael be his apprentice, but when he did show up to his house, he took his job very serious and saw himself in Michael. In many ways, this film reminds me of films like OMG, who hold the skeptical protagonist and pushes him to faith through experience and through a spiritual guide like Krishna. In many ways, Father Lucas is Michael's Krishna. In many ways, this movie pushes the boundaries of what religion means to an atheist. Like many movies reviewed throughout the semester, it brings up the concept of whether you are doubtful or whether you believe. Uh, the spiritual realm seems to captivate everybody. Seems to be a prevalent part of everybody's life, and it's better to learn to live with it and accept it and embrace it to better your own life.